Fujifilm just announced the GFX 100RF, a rangefinder styled body with a GFX core. Think X106 with a larger sensor. Now, if you're familiar with the Fujifilm ecosystem at all, you already know they work with APS-C and medium format. So you have your X series and your GFX. I use both styles of camera and I absolutely love them for photos, but every time I use the GFX system, it wins me over every time. This is the excitement behind the GFX 100RF. So let's talk about the camera. Again, the GFX 100RF is a rangefinder styled body, kind of like the X100 series. One of the biggest standout things about it is it's extremely lightweight. Honestly, it weighs about the same as an X-T5, if not even lighter. At least that's what it feels like in my hands. Now, for the GFX system, honestly, that's kind of crazy. I personally have used the GFX 100S, S2, and the 2, and all of those bodies are fairly large. Obviously, the GFX 100S and S2 are much smaller and lighter, and the 2 is very hefty. So being able to have the power of an S2, basically in the size of a body, almost like an X-T5, is just insanity. I mean, look at them beside each other. Like, it's really not that large of a difference. And I think that's the thing I like about it most. It has a fixed 35mm f4 lens, which, since medium format is larger than full frame, this is about a 28mm equivalent to a full frame camera. That is a nice wide view, which is going to get you the shots you need almost at any point. With this nice wide focal length, honestly, this is a great carry around camera, and that's how I personally am going to use it when I pick up one for myself. And you may be thinking to yourself, why would I want a 28mm full frame equivalent on a carry around camera? What if I want to shoot closer? But with a GFX system, all of this is handled. There's a new digital crop lever on the front that conveniently sits right under your finger, which will let you quickly digitally crop your photos. Funny enough, I was just talking about using Fujifilm cameras like this in my video about my 30 days in Japan, which I'll link right up above, but being able to punch in on your photos while you're shooting in JPEG is absolutely amazing, making this camera a single-use camera for pretty much anything. So with the digital teleconverter, you're basically getting 4 focal lengths, starting with 35, punching into 45, 63, and 80. And again, you can do this on the GFX system because it's 102 megapixels. And depending on your settings, you can have it punch in and show all of that on the screen, or just show how tight you're punching in to your current scene. This gives you a whole bunch of options when it comes to composing your photos. If you like to see your whole scene, but know what you're composing for, you can do that, or you can go ahead and crop it in and compose that way. And the nice thing is if you're shooting in RAW, you're going to be able to save all of that information. I took a couple of RAW photos and threw them into Lightroom, and what happens is it's going to automatically crop into any of those other focal lengths that I have punched into with the digital teleconverter. So here's a shoot I recently did, and I'm looking at all the photos in Lightroom. Now, none of them are showing the crops that I had in camera using the crop lever. However, if I come into any of these photos and go to develop mode, they're automatically going to show the crop that I had in camera. This is amazing for composition because I know that I have the full RAW file. However, when I go to edit, whatever crop I saw in camera, I can still have it here. But if I needed more of the photo, I can come in and crop. So this is absolutely amazing having this built into the camera. To me, being able to use the crop lever, compose in camera, and then still be able to come back to the RAWs and edit them however I want to, make them wider and recrop is game changing. Really, if I had this on every single type of Fujifilm camera, I would shoot JPEG and RAW the whole time and then just see what the JPEGs look like and went from there. So this is an awesome feature. I love it. I mean, you don't even have to shoot RAW and JPEG. You could just shoot RAW and still crop in camera. This is a great feature, and honestly, I wish I had this more often. So one of the biggest things about the GFX 100RF, in my opinion, is this feel of focusing on photo taking and not so much the specs of the camera itself. Being able to compose right in the camera what I want and need is huge for me because it takes me away from focusing so much on my camera and what it's doing and what I want to do with the photos. Again, I felt a lot of this when I was in Japan using the X-T5 in the same way, and being able to punch in 4 times on the GFX 100RF is just huge. And speaking of composing your photos, there's also a new aspect ratio dial. The aspect ratio dial is conveniently found right in the center of the camera, which makes it easy to get to and change your aspect ratio. In my opinion, this is the type of dial that you're not going to be turning too often. You're going to go out with an idea of what you already want to shoot and stay in that aspect ratio and go from there. So for instance, if I want to go out and shoot a whole bunch of 16:9, because that's just how I was feeling, I would set it that way, set up all my other settings, and go out and take those photos. And again, because it has dual card slots, you can shoot in RAW and JPEG and have all the information in your photos that way. Another feature I'm super excited about is the leaf shutter. This hands down has to be the quietest shutter I've ever used, and I thought I was using the electronic shutter instead. The shutter on this thing is so quiet.
It was like, is he?
Yeah. Did you take, actually, I took 30 photos real quick.
With a camera this quiet and a shutter this smooth, like, it was such a dream to work with. Also, because of the leaf shutter, you can have a sync speed at any shutter speed. This is super convenient when you're using flash. The GFX 100RF is weather resistant as well, which is awesome. I plan on using this camera as a travel camera, street photography, lifestyle photography, hanging out with the family, so the weather resistance is a must-have. And pulling right from the X106 body style, the GFX 100RF also has the ND filter. This is a 4-stop ND filter that you can set to any of the buttons on the camera, and it's great for scenes when it's just too bright or you're taking any video. The fact that I don't have to bring an extra ND filter with me is huge as well, because again, the way that I plan on using the GFX 100RF is pretty much just going to be the small camera I can pack in the lightest situations and not have to worry about bringing a whole bunch of extra gear with me and packing it that way. So having that built-in ND filter is absolutely awesome. The rest of the GFX 100RF is very straightforward. You have dual card slots that are using UHS-2 SD cards. You also have USB-C and micro HDMI. This is very reminiscent of most Fujifilm cameras. And the menus stay pretty much the same as all other Fujifilm cameras. And this is another thing I absolutely love about Fujifilm cameras, is the fact that I can jump in on any of their cameras and essentially know how to use it already, since the menus are so clear and the same across every camera body. Obviously, with the GFX system, one of its top selling points is the image quality. So photos coming out of this camera look great. And even when you're punching in with the digital teleconverter, you're still getting an amazing photo with great image quality. I used it on a couple of photo shoots and I love the results I got. And again, it's such a fun camera to use and just take your photos and focus on your composition rather than anything else that's going on. If you want to check out some of those photo shoots I did as well, I'll link them up above and in the description below. But having this as a travel camera is exactly what I would want to use it for, because not only can I punch in on my photos so much, but the photos look great. Honestly, if I could change all of my cameras to the GFX system, I would. I don't have all the funds for that at the moment, but for wedding photography, travel photography, street photography, honestly, the GFX system is so amazing and I cannot get enough of it. All of this priced at $4,900 is a great entry point to the GFX system. If you've been curious about wanting to use a GFX camera but didn't have the funds for it, this is a great all-around camera where you don't have to buy any other lenses and have all the features of a GFX packed into one small light box. Now, as far as features that people feel may be missing from the camera, the GFX 100RF does not have IBIS. So again, you can take video clips, but you're gonna have to have steady hands. If you're using this for stills mainly, however, this is not as much of a big deal. Also, there is not a flash included on the camera either, so you'll have to find a solution for that. So it makes it a little bit less of a point and shoot without the flash, but again, let me know in the comments how you all would be using the camera anyway, because you may or may not need it. Also, the viewfinder is only digital. There's not an optical viewfinder. For me personally, I haven't used too many of the cameras that have the optical viewfinder, so I don't really see it as a con at all. But let me know what you all think about it not having the optical viewfinder and also the digital viewfinder. If you haven't had a chance to get into the GFX system, honestly, this might be a great starting place for you, especially if you're familiar with the X100 series. Let me know in the comments below if you're going to be picking up this camera for yourself and if you're looking to use it, and check out some of my other photo shoots with the camera right over here. I'm excited about the GFX 100RF and would love to hear what you all think about it. Stick around for more coverage on the camera, and I will catch you all next time.